There will be days when you don't feel ready. Days when your body feels tired, your mind feels heavy, and your heart questions whether the effort is worth it. On those days, waiting for motivation will keep you stuck because motivation comes and goes, but purpose stays. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is push yourself and get it done anyway. I've learned that progress doesn't come from feeling strong. It comes from acting when you feel weak. When life already feels unfair, it's easy to slow down, to make excuses, to tell yourself you'll try again tomorrow. But tomorrow becomes a habit, and habits quietly shape your future. There will be moments when motivation disappears, when excitement fades, and the fire you once felt feels distant. In those moments, responsibility becomes your anchor. Taking responsibility means accepting that your progress cannot depend on how you feel today. Feelings change, energy rises and falls, but commitment remains steady when motivation does not. When you rely only on motivation, you give your power to emotion. You move when you feel inspired and stop when you don't. Responsibility shifts that pattern. It says, even if I don't feel ready, I will show up. It reminds you that consistency matters more than intensity. Taking responsibility is not about forcing perfection. It's about honoring your promises to yourself. When you say you will do something and follow through, even in small ways, you build self-respect. You begin to trust yourself again. And that trust becomes the fuel that motivation could never sustain. Life will never slow down just because you feel tired. Challenges won't wait until you feel confident. Responsibility gives you the strength to move forward anyway. When motivation fades, discipline carries you. And every time you act, despite how you feel, you prove that your future is shaped by choice, not mood. Acting despite fear, doubt, or discomfort is where real strength is built. Waiting until fear disappears means waiting forever, because fear is not a signal to stop by. T's a signal that something meaningful is at stake. Every step forward will feel uncomfortable before it feels natural. That discomfort is not weakness. It's growth in motion. Doubt will question your ability. It will remind you of past failures and unfinished attempts. But doubt is not truth, just noise. When you act anyway, you teach your mind that fear does not get the final word. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to move forward in its presence. Discomfort is part of every breakthrough. Muscles grow through resistance. Confidence grows through exposure. Faith grows through action. The more you act, despite discomfort, the stronger you become. What once felt terrifying becomes manageable. What once felt impossible becomes familiar. You don't need to eliminate fear to succeed. You need to stop obeying it. Each time you take action while afraid, you reclaim control. And in that act of courage, you discover that you are far more capable than your doubts ever allowed you to believe. Discipline is the bridge between wanting and achieving. Motivation will carry you for a moment, but it is discipline that moves you forward every day. Even when you don't feel like it, small, consistent actions showing up, finishing what you start, keeping your promises to yourself build momentum that lasts far longer than bursts of inspiration ever could. Discipline is not about perfection or force. It's about choosing long-term results over short-term comfort. It's waking up early to do the work, staying focused when distractions call, and completing tasks even when your energy is low. Each act of discipline reinforces your self-belief, teaching your mind that you are reliable and capable. Consistency compounds. One day of pushing yourself feels small, but repeated daily, it becomes unstoppable. Every small step you take adds up, building strength, confidence, and resilience. Discipline transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary results because it does not wait for motivation. The difference between those who achieve and those who don't is rarely talent, it's discipline. When you master consistency, even fear, doubt, or fatigue cannot stop you. The act of showing up becomes your power. And in that power, you discover that you can accomplish far more than you ever imagined. Refusing excuses and self-imposed limits is where true growth begins. So often, the barriers we face are not external, they are the stories we tell ourselves. I'm too tired. I can't do it. It's not my time. Each excuse is a small cage, keeping the version of you that is capable from stepping forward. The moment you refuse those excuses, you reclaim your power. Excuses feel safe because they justify inaction, but they slowly steal your future. Self-imposed limits are even more dangerous because they convince you that you know your boundaries better than you actually do. Growth, however, lives beyond comfort. It demands that you step into uncertainty, push past doubt, and act even when it is uncomfortable. Every time you choose action over excuse, you expand what you believe is possible. You teach yourself that your capabilities are not fixed, that your limits can be stretched with effort, focus, and courage. And the more you push past these self-imposed boundaries, the more freedom you create in your life. Excuses are easy, but they lead to regret. Courage is uncomfortable, but it leads to progress. Refusing to let fear, laziness, or doubt dictate your choices is the key to unlocking potential you may not even realize exists. The only thing holding you back is what you allow to hold you back. Finishing what you start is where true momentum is built. Starting is easy. Anyone can begin a task, a project, or a goal. But finishing requires commitment, focus, and the courage to push through resistance. The world is full of unfinished dreams, abandoned ideas, and goals left halfway. Every time you follow through, you separate yourself from that crowd. Finishing is not just about completing a task, it's about proving to yourself that you are reliable. It's about building trust in your own abilities, showing yourself that you can face discomfort, ignore doubt, and see things through even when the process feels long or hard. Each completed effort reinforces your confidence, strengthens your discipline, and fuels your next success. Life will always test your persistence. Challenges will appear, fatigue will grow, and temptation will whisper for you to quit. But the difference between ordinary results and extraordinary results is the person who keeps going when others stop. Finishing is how momentum compounds. One completed task leads to another, one victory builds belief in the next, and suddenly what seemed impossible becomes inevitable. Push yourself, get it done, and don't let anything stop you until the job is finished. Each time you do, you are shaping a life built on courage, action, and unstoppable momentum. The finish line is not just a place, it's proof that you are capable of more than you ever imagined. Every step you take, no matter how small, brings you closer to the person you are meant to become. Push yourself, get it done, and prove to yourself that limits are only in your mind. Thank you for believing in your strength. Thank you for choosing action over fear.